A realtor's paycheck can be almost as much as another person's salary. So I understand to a degree that it may not seem worth it at all just to pay that price. But if you're going to sell your home anyway, you might as well do it properly. And why not get advice from a licensed realtor like myself? So take a walk with me. If you're already walking, great. If you aren't walking, get up. Let's go for a walk. Let's go over everything you need to know about selling your home for sale by owner. And I mean, just take a look at that beautiful sky. Why wouldn't you want to walk? But I do apologize if the quality is really bad, my hand is really shaky, or you can't really hear me because of the mic. I'm doing everything outside. I don't have the proper equipment for this. That car is probably going to make way too much noise in this video, but just bear with me. The first step is to properly clarify whether or not this is actually for you. Selling a home is a lot of work. And I know it seems like every realtor just kind of puts it on the market and leaves it to be. But in truth, there's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of research. There's a lot of things that happens behind the scenes that even you as the client may not be aware about. So it's important to actually and properly clarify, hey, do you work a lot of hours for your job? Are you constantly traveling? Do you have enough time and hours to dedicate to actually selling the property? Because it's going to take up a lot of your time. It's going to be like a second job almost. By the way, look at this. This is gorgeous. That's my morning view every day. Let's say you're ready to take on the challenge. You're okay with the extra job. You're okay with having the extra time that you had to commit, and you don't mind juggling things and having to have that extra kind of stress and burden onto you. Let's get into what you're actually here for. The first step that you should be worrying about is what I call the research phase. This is before you even start prepping the home. During this, you're going to find out all of the details that you know up front. Things like knowing how much your market value of the property is, knowing how to do comps and comparables. Getting a net sheet should also be on your priority. And a special little hint I want to give you is having backup agents, exploring other options, because you don't have to have a full service agent. You could go with a flat fee agent who may just charge you $500, $1,000 to put it on the MLS. Maybe you don't mind paying that much money, but it'll make your exposure just that much better. So truly research which phase you want to go into. But seriously, it's important to have all of this up front. And that's why I'm telling you now, because this is what I do for every single one of my listings. Going more in depth is making comps for your property. If you want to make comps for your property, it's super simple. You take your home, you find out how many beds and how many baths are in the home. Let's say it's 3-bed, 2-bath. Let's say it's 1,000 square footage on average. You're going to look for the past 3 months in a 1-mile radius from your home. How many homes sold, 3-bed, 2-bath, either 800 square feet to 1,200 square feet, so around the same, sold in your area. You're gonna take those homes, look at the price per square feet. You're gonna get the average of all three, right? Ideally, you get 3 comps. We call them comps. These are comparable homes, homes that are similar to your house that helps us gauge what's the market value of your home. Whatever amount that comes out, the average price per square feet, multiply that by your square footage of the home. So let's say average price per square feet came out to be around $500. Your home is 1,000 square feet. So the market value of your home, 1,000 times 500, is actually $500,000. To find the amount that you're going to net from the sale, take the market value, so let's say $500,000, go to an escrow officer. You could literally search up escrow officer. You're gonna find somebody, reach out to them. Their information is always public because they're always looking for more business. Ask them for a net sheet and tell them that you wanna put your sales price at $500,000, right at market value. They're going to be able to shoot you out an email probably the same day explaining all of the breakdown of the cost that you're going to pay and how much money you're going to be left with at the end of the sale before taxes. By the way, guys, look at that view. I'm just going to constantly give you guys view checks. Ain't that gorgeous? San Gabriel Valley, y'all. We're going to Monterey Park, Garvey Ranch Park, by the way. Beautiful space. Beautiful spot. And then hiring a flat fee service agent. Look, I know this is about selling for sale by owner, but guys, honestly, $500 to $1,000 to get your home on the MLS is absolutely insane. Do your research. I would highly recommend it if you're going this route because it's really not a lot out of pocket for such a return. But do your research, understand what it fully means. Come on out yourself, honestly. Let's go into the actual prep stage because there's a lot to do if you're going to do this legally. And I'm going to be talking about paperwork. You did the research, you know how much you're going to net from the home, you know the market value of your house, and you know if you're going to use a flat fee agent or if you're just going to go by yourself. Let's talk about the actual prepping stage. I like to make this as simple as possible with one added addition because you're doing this for sale by owner is the paperwork. The paperwork is going to be a lot. Let's tackle that one first. You want to reach out to an escrow officer, the same escrow officer that gave you that net sheet earlier in the research phase, Ask them what is the necessary paperwork and documents, inspections, everything that is going to be needed to sell your home for sale by owner, right? Assuming that there isn't a licensed realtor helping you, facilitating all of the paperwork, what is the necessary paperwork that you have to do to make sure that you do things legally? Escrow will literally take care of you and hold your hand step by step throughout the whole process. Do not be shy going to them because they will be the ones guiding you. They pretty much are free. You do end up paying them at the end of escrow, which is like $2,000, but that's for every single deal. That's not something you can really exclude. So escrow will literally be your buddy throughout all of this. Once you're done getting all the paperwork from them, you know exactly what you have to sign and what you have to do. You should start and focus decluttering, cleaning, pictures, right? And then here you're gonna decide photography and if you're going to stage the property. Decluttering, super simple. Give yourself at least a week to declutter. And then deep clean, I also recommend that if you do have an extra $200 to $500, hire yourself a professional deep cleaner. They're gonna be able to actually walk in the home, deep clean all of the kitchen and the toilets, which is really what the buyers are caring about. It's just gonna make your life so much easier. They could do it in a day, they'll shoot you out a quote the day before, and it's just so much easy. If not, give yourself at least a week to two to really scrub and deep clean every single surface on the home. Now you're done with actually cleaning the home, you should be looking towards photographers. Find a good photographer in your local area, take a look at what they've been doing, look at the reviews, and just get them in as soon as you can. Take professional photos. It really does make a difference when it comes to showing the home online. Remember, all of these buyers will see your home online before they ever walk in the property. So really, really, really pay close attention to how the photos come out and how much you're spending towards those photos, because they really do make a difference. And my hair is going crazy. And the final kind of missing component is the actual staging of the property. Now, staging is this kind of myth that some people don't know, like, should I do it? Should I not do it? For the typical homeowner, I wouldn't really recommend you to stage your home. It's a lot of money. Sometimes you may not have the money out of pocket to come out of hand, especially if you don't want to pay for like a flat fee agent service or even like the deep cleaning service. I really doubt that you will have the penny on hand to pay for staging. It could be up to like $5,000 a month. So really be careful about that. Staging does make it super fast. If you have the money and you can afford staging, do the staging. You know, sell your furniture, put it in a warehouse, put it in a friend's house, do something with the other furniture, stage the property. Your home will sell ages faster. At the end of the day, it is less than paying a realtor's commission. Now, the last part of the whole prep stage, and I'm gonna say this in front of a baseball game, is finding out your listing price. I always recommend to list below your market value. So if you know your home is $500,000 worth, you should list around 480, 490. Reason being is you want people in the home to actually start negotiating. A lot of people think that I could put a home at 510 and the buyer is gonna wanna lowball me down and we're gonna settle at 500, right where I want it to be. But in truth, if you're listed too high, buyers won't even bother to tour the house, let alone give you an offer. So you'd rather have something to negotiate and go off of than to have nothing and just pray and hope and sit on your hands with this as your strategy. That's all you need to know about the prep and research stage. That is literally maybe 50% of the whole process. You're doing amazing if you've really gotten this far and you actually dedicated to making those steps happen. Let's go into actually getting the home listed and going onto the market. By the way, guys, I'm having an amazing time walking. It's beautiful, it's sunny, it's airy out here. If you're also enjoying the content, do me a favor. I'll put a link in the description to my website. If you want other free information, whether it's selling tips, buying tips, what areas are good, take a look at my blog. I have a ton of free information out there, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. So congrats, guys. Now you're on to actually list the home. The very first thing you do, of course, if you're with a flat fee agent, they're going to be able to put it on the MLS for you. But let's say you're not, right? Let's say you're not, you didn't decide to go with the flat fee agent, you're doing it by yourself. You want to upload your listing to Zillow for sale by owner. That is your gold mine right there. Fill in your listing, put a real nice description of the home that really goes through from walking in to how spacious the kitchen is to what type of material the floor is made of. Really be as descriptive as possible in the description, because a lot of these buyers are going to be looking at things online before they ever step into the property. So make sure you're really on top of that. The very first photo in your Zillow for sale by owner page has to be either an exterior of the property or a highlight that you want to point out. It's so important because oftentimes a buyer will look through just the first photo of your listing. So really make sure that you pay a lot of attention into that, plus the description. Again, the whole point is to get the buyer interested enough so that they give a call, so that they talk more, look through the listing more, save it ideally on Zillow, and hopefully end up giving you a tour. Once you get all of those pages filled out, you want to go live, I guess, on somewhere in the middle of the week. In the middle of the week is best. I know you're still working and you may want to put it on the weekend because that's when it's most convenient for you, but put it on the middle of the week. When you put it on the middle of the week, you should have and plan an open house for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. You don't have to buy open house signs. You can if you want to, but ideally, man, if this is for sale by owner, again, you really want to save as much money as possible. I don't know if you should buy the signs. Some of them are very expensive. You could get the cheap ones, but they don't really work as well. So have an open house Saturday and Sunday. Really make it 3 to 5 hours, ideally both days from like 11 to 4 p.m. Bring snacks, food, drinks, flyers, all of that good stuff. And man, I am out of breath, man. This ain't easy. If you could see where I'm at, everything is just uphill. This feels more like a hike than a walk. So I'm sorry if I'm breathing really loud into the mic. Your goal and your only mission for that open house is to get an offer the same day. Not much to talk about during the listing part. That's kind of, it's just one day of the whole thing. Let's go into the marketing. This is the bulk of where you're going to be lying. Expect to sell within anywhere between 1 to 3 months. So it's going to be a process, right? You've included your information, your contact information on the Zillow page. What you have to be worried about now is calls from realtors. You really, really, really want to scan through the calls with realtors and make it clear on your Zillow page, do not call me. I am not taking calls from realtors unless you have a buyer with an offer. There will be a lot of realtors giving you calls trying to take your listing. They're going to try and convince you, persuade you, influence you into thinking that you need a realtor to sell the home. You're doing this because you don't want to sell with a realtor, which is fine. I can respect it. It's a lot of money. Maybe have some other realtors on the side as backup if things don't go well, but your main focus shouldn't be taking calls from other realtors. Your main focus should be giving property tours to people who are actually interested in seeing the home. Again, gorgeous view. Gorgeous view, y'all. Now that you're listed and you're actively marketing the property, what you want to do, ideally, is search up online. And this is probably the best way for you to be marketing your home, is search up online the local brokerages near your property, all right? They're gonna have a list of all of their agents that they have. You're gonna give them a call. You're gonna say, hey, I'm a for sale by owner guy. You're an agent. I know you have a lot of buyers. Do you have a buyer for my property? That's all you're gonna do. You're gonna call, text, email, all their information's public, all of the agents nearby, because they are bound to have a buyer for you. If that doesn't work, and maybe you'll do it alongside this other method, you're gonna be hosting open houses nearly every weekend. That is really, especially if you don't have access to the MLS, that is really one of your biggest ways of getting traffic. Of course, if you're planning on having open houses every weekend, maybe it's better to invest in the open house signs. Just be careful to know that there are rules for certain cities when it comes to having open house signs. Some cities like San Marino and South Pasadena don't allow more than one sign. You can't have them overnight, so just be wary about that because they might get taken by the city. You're basically just gonna do this on repeat. I mean, it's a boring, slow process. By now, you can really see all of the work that is put in, from the research to the prep, to the actual listing, to the ongoing marketing that you're gonna have to do day by day. And you're gonna start to see how this can really feel like a second job. But let's say, hey, let's pretend that everything goes well. You had an open house, somebody decided to give you an offer, you called somebody, they decided to give you an offer. Great, now what? Most homeowners are kind of okay getting up to this stage, but actually going through the paperwork and escrow is what really throws a lot of people off. My best advice, of course, I've never sold any of my properties for sale by owner, but my best advice is to really preach on this escrow officer. I mean, really just rely on them so heavily. They're gonna make sure that you do all of your paperwork from start to finish, and they're gonna take care of you. They're gonna order NHD reports, they're gonna order title reports, they're gonna pretty much order all the inspections and reports necessary to have the sale go through. Ask them if you could get all of the paperwork that you need signed on your end. If escrow will not provide that to you, you should be asking the buyer's agent to say, hey, I want you to give me all of the paperwork I need to sign for this sale to go through. For your benefit and for my benefit, I want to make sure that this goes through legally, right? So either rely on the escrow officer or the buyer's agent to give you all of the paperwork you need to sign, and double check with everybody to make sure that things are being done legally. Every home is different, every city is different, so there may be specific things different to you, but for the most part, you should be good so long as you really follow closely to what escrow says or what the buyer agent says. And hey man, worst case scenario is that you have to pay the buyer's agent maybe an extra 1% commission, 0.5% commission, 2% commission, whatever it is, so that they can do the paperwork properly. You know, if they're giving you trouble on that, I am no legal attorney. I'm not sure whether or not that's possible or not, but if you have to pay, you know, 0.5% one commission, do it. It's way better than having a lawsuit go through. Trust me, the agent does know what they're talking about. They do know the laws required. And if they want to bring it to court because you didn't do something that they didn't have to tell you about, they will probably do it. I don't know. What I can tell you outside of paperwork is the contingency. So the buyer will have 3 contingencies, just like when you bought the home, if you slightly remember that process. Inspection contingency, appraisal contingency, loan contingency. Make sure that you know, they're not crazy long. 17 days is average from California, San Gabriel Valley, where I'm at. Negotiate them down to get 15-day contingencies, 12-day contingencies to make the process move by faster. You're already saving a lot by having no seller agent commission, so don't be stingy on the repairs. And most of the time, if there's a valid reason for why they are requesting a repair from a negotiation, from a inspection report, most of the time you can't really get away with not doing it. You know, at some point you do have to be a bit reasonable about this. So I hope you kind of understand that part. You go through all the contingencies, you're finished all of that, they're going through the final walkthrough, and you're pretty much done. You know, get your keys, give it out to the buyer's agent, sign the final papers from escrow to close off the loan, get your money, get your check, have your mover there, and you're done. You've pretty much sold your home for sale by owner. That is literally step by step everything you need to do. All done in one walk, by the way. This walk was no longer than like 20 minutes, I think. So it's long, it seems simple, but there's a lot of nuances inside that I really couldn't cover in like a 10, 20, 30-minute video. Let me know in the comments if you really want to know more in depth into each section of the process, whether it's the prep, the research, the buying, or anything like that. We're going towards the end of our walk, unfortunately. I love doing these walks, guys. This is one of my favorite things, literally just going on walks. The scenery is beautiful. Hopefully you've been able to get some good nuggets of advice out of this. If you are planning to do for sale by owner, my contact information is going to be in the description. Give me a text, give me an email, let me know how it goes. You know, I want to hear if what I said actually helped you in actually selling your home, you know, for sale by owner. Of course, I am a realtor, guys. If you guys don't want to sell for sale by owner, feel free to also use me as a realtor. But hey, I'm not going to force you. My stop is right here, guys. I hope you're having an amazing day. Peace.